Hi, and welcome to the Ethics and Cultural Competency in Health Information Management layout. This training is over how to strengthen ethical decisions making while promoting a culturally competent workforce. To have cultural competency, workforce involves understanding, respecting, and knowing how to respond to individuals. Ethical decision making has become influenced by cultural backgrounds, and cultural backgrounds affect the perception on how individuals see things. It is important that for cultural awareness to understand the ethical judgment in diverse settings. With the organization becoming more culturally aware, this will allow for better communication, employee engagement, and better decision making. This will allow for better communication between the staff members as well as the patients, helping employees feel valued and understood. Being able to implicit culture, competency, and ethical practices allow for ongoing training to keep informed with awareness and ethical standards. It creates a safe place so that discussions about cultural differences and ethical concerns can be spoken about, as well as leadership, as we should lead by example and set the tone for the organization. Bias is a tendency to do favors or disfavors for someone or a group of people, often unfairly. People are biased everywhere you go. Understanding what bias is and how it affects ethical guidelines, standards, and diversity is important in the healthcare profession. In health information management, there are numerous ways for bias to occur. This could happen through coding bias, data collection bias, technical bias, and access to privacy. Coding bias ties in with data collection. If accurate data is not collected, this could lead to coding errors leading to influenced judgment based off of race, age, gender. Data collection bias is when the data is not accurately corrected and can lead to gaps in the care needed for the patients. Technology bias refers to machine learning systems that are used in the healthcare. Some may be biased to use the equipment depending on race, age, or healthcare cost. Access and privacy bias would be who has the decision to access or share your health information. There are several impacts for being biased in the health information management. This leads to misdiagnoses or wrong treatments. This could mess with research based off data that was collected, causes risk for the ethical and legal consequences for violation of HIPAA. Being biased also can cause trust issues among everyone. Prejudice is the option or reason not based off experience. The impacts are that it can lead to unfair treatment for the patients based off of the person's race, age, and gender. Making sure that we address the impacts of prejudice in the healthcare field is very important to ensure we are delivering the best care to the patients by implementing bias trainings, practice accurate data collection are important steps towards elevating these impacts. Bias and prejudice can harm healthcare culture. Having bias and prejudice in the healthcare setting can lead to a disrupting care delivery, puts patient safety at risk, and causes unnecessary strain within the workplace. Let's talk about 3 ways that it can harm the healthcare culture. The first way is lowering trust between patients and the providers. If the patient does not have trust in the provider, it can lead to less medical care. Compromised patient safety is extremely harmful to the healthcare culture. Bias can lead to miscommunication between healthcare providers and patients that can lead to misdiagnoses, misunderstandings, which can lead to unsafe care. Implicit bias of healthcare providers impact the events in healthcare that can lead to patient safety concerns. Lastly, tension in the workplace. Bias in the workplace can be harmful. Rules of a HEMA Code of Ethics. American Health Management Association Code of Ethics serves as a framework guiding professionals' conduct of HIM. It is the ethical obligations and responsibilities essential for maintain the integrity, confidentiality, and quality of health information. The purpose of a HEMA Code of Ethics is designed to promote high standards of health information management practices, gives a summary of broad ethical principles reflecting the core values. It sets ethical principles to guide decision-making actions, mentor new providers in understanding HIM's mission, values, ethical principles. These are just a few principles that apply to all HEMA members, non-members, with commission on certification for health informatics and information management. Some of the core ethical principles are advocacy and privacy and confidentiality, meaning holding the patient's rights to privacy and making sure all confidentiality in the use of disclosure of information. Integrity and trustworthiness. HIM professionals should act with integrity and elevate service to others, go above and beyond, and over self-interest, showing the best standards of practice, always promoting all health information or protecting all health information, making sure to avoid unethical practices or procedures, utilizing technology and information resources appropriately, and lastly, respect human dignity. Six core purposes of a HEMA Code of Ethics serves: promoting high standards, core values, ethical guidance, behavioral framework, public accountability, and mentorship. So, promoting high standards of HIM practice, this means that all professionals apply the best practices in information management, security, and ethics. Supporting Principle 1, it advocates, upholds, defends the patient's right to privacy and the duty to protect health information confidentiality. Overall, this means to protect ethical handling of patients' data across diverse populations, respect cultural sensitivity, and trust. Core value. This code provides a clear expectation of ethical decision making, rooted professionalism, respect, and integrity. Supporting principle is 3. It preserves, protects, and secures personal health information in any form or medium. This ensures all patients, regardless of background, have their information protected with fairness and cultural respect. Ethical guidance. As a HIM professional, we are guided to make ethical choices when facing complex or culturally sensitive situations. Supporting principle is 8. Represent the profession to the public in a positive manner. It encourages HIM professionals to eliminate bias in public and internal communications. Behavior and responsibility framework. This code gives the structure to guide ethical conduct and accountability. Supporting principal code 6. Recruit and mentor students, peers, colleagues to develop and strengthen the workforce. So emphasize cultural competency by supporting diversity in recruitment and professional development. Public accountability. Patients and the public can hold professionals accountable for ethical behavior and cultural sensitivity. Supporting Principle Code 13 engages in ethical and respectful collaboration, promoting fair treatment of all individuals. This addresses cultural issues and calls for a respectful, bias-free interactions. Lastly, mentorship. This code gives early career professionals in understanding ethical expectations, cultural respect, supports Principle 10, facilitates interdisciplinary collaboration to support ethical practice of health information management, allows working across cultures and disciplines to enhance ethical and fair care. This chart breaks down 3 of the AHIMA Code of Ethics and Principles and how each one influences patient-centered care, patient rights, and patient safety. Principle 1 advocates, upholds, and defends the patient's right to privacy and the duty to protect confidentiality of health information. Some key components: it protects patients' health information from unauthorized access, ensures data security in both paper and electronic forms, and upholds HIPAA and other privacy regulations. Influence, care, and rights. Patient-centered care helps build the trust by ensuring that the patient feels safe sharing personal information. Patient rights directly supports the right to privacy, confidentiality, and informed consent. Patient safety prevents misuse of data that could result in stigma, misdiagnosis, or improper care due to incomplete records. Principle 3 preserves, protects, and secures personal health information in any form or medium and holds information to the highest regard. Some key components is secure handling of data across physical and digital environments, prevents data breaches and use of information ethically and only as intended. Influence on care and rights. A patient-centered care maintains accurate records, which are vital for care. Patient rights ensure that patients' information is only used with the appropriate authorization, and patient safety enhances the safety by making sure that the critical information is available and correct, but also protected during decision making. Principle 13 engages in ethical and respectful collaboration with colleagues, clients, patients, and others to promote the ethical practice of health information management. Some key components encourage respectful inclusion and culturally sensitive teamwork, promotes diversity in information practices, addresses unethical behaviors through proper channels. Influences on care and rights. The patient-centered care allows collaboration across cultural competence. It ensures a respectful treatment. Patient rights enforces fair and unbiased treatment regardless of their background. And patient safety reduces error caused by miscommunication by gaining trust and clarity in the care team. In-person real-world ethical issues. In-person ethical concerns would not be verifying the patient's information, and this could lead to errors on patient's data or could lead to misdiagnoses. We are all human and we do make mistakes, but when it comes to verifying information, it is better to make sure you do it more than once to ensure that you are accurately taking down the right information. A consequence for not double checking your work is that it could lead to errors in the patient's data or it could lead to a misdiagnosis. An action plan would be making sure that there are competency trainings and verification procedure checks. If this was continuing to happen, then adding in being supervised side by side while collecting patient information for in the moment training. So remote work, real world ethical issues. Remote work has its own challenges, just like in person. In remote work, you must think about all the data breaches that could happen and how to protect the information. If you're in shared spaces, you're going to want to have a timeout on your workstation. Some consequences with remote work is that it could violate AHIMA Principle 3 and the HIPAA laws. You will want to ensure that you are protecting patients' data. Some action steps that could be taken are timeout screens when stepping away from the computer, privacy screens, and ensuring that your encrypted devices are up to date and keep your firewalls protected. Summary and overview. Things to take away from the presentation: that bias and procedure impacts everyone. A HEMA code of ethics is our roadmap. Ethical principles strengthen patient safety, rights, and inclusive work environments. And lastly, commit today to ethical excellence. Currently, this concludes our training. If you have any questions, you may ask them at this time. Later, if you think of some questions and you would like to ask, you can reach out to me through email or in person. And my email is msiraj at my.gcu.edu.